first, let's talk about the JAPA syndrome, where the United States Embassy in Nigeria says it has interviewed more than 150,000 Nigerians who applied for visas to the country this year alone. The head of in Nigeria, Mr. David Greene, revealed that this number was in addition to the 30,000 students who have sought visas from the U.S. for study opportunities. According to him, the demand for visa appointment outnumbers the supply. Interesting development, Kemi, how a number of persons, if we are to compare notes with those leaving the country for the UK, I'm sure the number is way higher because we know the bottlenecks involved with getting a US visa, but it's still quite worrisome that we have this number of persons, 150, leaving the country for the US. And we also record the story around qualified professionals also leaving the country, where we had reports of doctors also leaving the country. And I know that some of these persons are also very qualified professionals as it is.
Right, and this is just one country out of the almost 200 countries in the world. And of course, there will always be the allure of the United States, they call it the free country and all of that, but then it's still just one country. If you go to Europe, we still have, number of Nigerians. So the statistics keep growing, but then the report didn't provide answers as to, out of these 150,000 applications, how many were approved. And well, there are so many reasons that people, like someone said, there are so many reasons. We will always get to that point, even where people are complaining that here in Nigeria, things don't appear to be improving yet. But then we have always had that issue, so to speak, of, Nigerians who are seeking greener pastures, or basically just, going abroad for diverse reasons. Yes, but of course it has this issue has, brought up all sorts of interpretation, saying that perhaps it's not accurate, perhaps it might even increase because the year is not over yet. We still have a few more weeks till the end of the year, but it just, basically speaks to, perhaps the state of the country and, people impatient. But then, of course, there's still many more, several more millions of people, hundreds of millions of people are still in the country.
Is it impatience that is at work?
No, whatever it is. I said for diverse reasons. People are traveling.
Because I heard you say impatience, so yes, I wanted
I used the word, but rather maybe I used it flippantly. But I had earlier said that people are leaving for diverse reasons.
Absolutely.
So, and we don't know how many were approved. You said earlier on that they were stringent. The US, of course,
getting
the processes,
yes.
Getting
it's quite stringent.
A visa and all that. So, well, we don't know. There are so many reasons, but of course, the JAPA syndrome is real.
Absolutely,
and, is very real, and
the brain drain and all of it is real.
Absolutely.
I am not really particularly interested in the number approved or not approved, whoever it is, but the fact that we are losing quite a chunk of our young talents, our best brains, our best hands, experienced hands at this point, to other communities, the international communities. That is my concern. And I'm wondering if the government is looking at addressing that, stepping in to say, maybe have a conversation with the doctors, for instance, the medical practitioners who are leaving the country, for instance, because we are having cases all over the country where even LASUs had to shut down a certain number of words because they do not have loose, because they do not have the qualified number of personnel to handle the inflow of persons in that ward as it is. So they have to shut it down. So where will those people go to? People who need their services as we speak, where will they go to? Can they access medical care? We know that out-of-pocket treatment is a lot in this part of the world. So what are we doing with regards to bridging the gap? These persons are leaving with so much experience. I'm talking about the medical personnel, for instance. That is one aspect. We also have young persons within the age bracket of 18 to 50, let me say, also live in the country. And these people are critical to rebuilding our economy, our society. As we speak, they are also leaving the country in droves. What are we doing? Are we looking at the root causes of why these persons are leaving the country? And yes, we will say humans are nomadic in nature. You cannot necessarily hold people back. But there are certain issues that these people have raised for why they are going, which is a thread that runs through all of the reasons people give for their leaving the country. Are we looking at those critical issues to address them? Those are critical points that must be taken.
And they are valid points. I take your points, but well, it is what it is, and for what government is doing, of course, government has, since spoken about it. There are options. People have spoken about options. Perhaps how do we replace on the issue of education now? The impact of the brain drain on the education sector, on the health sector. Only yesterday we were seeing in the papers that people are even resorting. Drugs have become expensive at a time where health professionals are also not around. It is a very, very dangerous mix, because yes, there is the impact. There will remain that adverse impact on those of us who are here at the moment. Absolutely, yes, of course. If you weigh your chances, absolutely. If you feel over there is better for you. But another school of thought is when you look at the humongous amount of money that is involved in relocating. For example, we're having people who even have very comfortable lives in Nigeria and still saying they want to go abroad, and it gives one the feeling that you have that much money, but then what are these people going to do over there? How many of them are going to do regular jobs? People go there.
They tell you the system works.
Yes, and I take that point. I actually have issues with the system here, because everything, all the ills across the sectors fall down to one major system. Politics and all that falls down to the primary foundation, which is the system, being so erroneous. Absolutely. But then what is the standard of living? How do many, if you put like 1,000 Nigerians there, what are they basically doing over there? Is there dignity of living?
Because we
yes.
have...
But then when you weigh the naira against the dollar...
Because we have a number of persons whom we know are over there, and we speak with these persons. What are their reasons? They tell you that they are willing to work because they are willing to work because they see their money work for them.
Right.
Now, that is what they believe they don't see here. They see their money work for them. Those who are comfortable, who are saying, oh, they are not satisfied with the way the system works here, and that the system works there, they'd rather go there because of their children.
And then you see people, yes. And okay, like I remember at school of thought, someone was saying that just pray you don't fall ill. It's just pray you don't fall ill in Nigeria. That is when you will see that, okay, if you feel you have money, but systems, standards of living, how things work. Those are things to love, about abroad. And even our regular people who do anyhow in the country, when they go there, we see how they adjust.
Justice.
Because there is a system that works. It's a lot of take-home lessons for us as, countrymen and women. There's a lot to learn from, especially if we want the life that we all seek in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
They tell you the people there also want to come back, but they rather stay put there. Stay put there, even though they're spending, humongous amounts, to get that life they want, And when you look at how accessible things are, but because of mismanagement of our resources, we are where we are, and having to restore everything back is such a painful journey.
It's a lot, and they tell you, even though they are second-class citizens, as we often call them, because you are a stranger in that land, and so you'll be treated as a second-class citizen, that everything works for them is something that they would appreciate and embrace, and also looking at the future for their children. So what kind of future are we building for the generation coming after us is also very critical at this point.